Hello and welcome to Week 3, Unit 3 of our Open SAP course, SAP Fiori Overview. Last week, we heard about how UI5 gives you the power and flexibility to build great web applications. Today, we're going to talk about how Fiori Elements speeds application development, the advantages of a metadata-driven framework, and how Fiori Tools further accelerates SAP Fiori app development. We created SAP Fiori Elements to help our own globally distributed development teams build apps for SAP S/4HANA. The goal was to make developers more efficient, allowing them to create apps that are consistent from team to team, all of which contribute to the ability for you to help your organization scale good UX. SAP Fiori Elements is a collection of several page types that form the foundation of your app. The template includes layout, formatting, navigation, search, and tools to modify the standard pages. Building apps from the standard page types means that developers can focus on the business logic and use the user interface that SAP provides. Using this template-based approach means the apps you and your teams create will be consistent, both with each other and with the apps that SAP ships. And with the ability to quickly and consistently create standard Fiori apps, you will be able to scale a great UX across your organization. What does SAP Fiori Elements give you out of the box? We provide page types that enforce the general layout of a page in your application. For example, a list report application will always look consistent in terms of the layout of the search box on top of the page and the grid below that contains the results. We also provide standard UI logic out of the box, not just the design and layout of the screen. This means that when you click on an object in the grid, it will go to the page for that object. If the standard page type is not sufficient to meet your needs, you can customize your app with more controls and more specific behaviors. Fiori Elements provides 5 page types. While this might not seem like much, it turns out that it covers approximately 80% of the scenarios of interacting with SAP backend data. This is based on our own experience building apps for SAP S/4HANA. Your results may vary. An overview page provides a summary of a specific domain. It can contain various types of lists, charts, and graphs. You would generally link to this page from your Launchpad. List plus detail is the most common family of apps you can create with SAP Fiori Elements. A lot of existing SAP apps follow this pattern where the first page contains a list of objects and you click on one of them and then see the object page below. If your object is comprised of a bunch of sub-objects, you can click on those and navigate further down in your application. We provide several variations of the list page. A standard list report has a number of filtering options where the user can filter the information on the fly and see only the objects that interest them. Worklist is the simplest version where different tabs correspond to predefined filters such as different phases of a workflow. The analytical list page is the most sophisticated with embedded analytics capabilities and visual filters. You can combine different applications, different list types on a single page if that's what your application needs. One of the main accelerators in SAP Fiori Elements is the UI logic that's built into the standard page. This includes simple logic, such as navigation between pages or between apps. It provides searching, sorting, and filtering capabilities within the lists. We also take care of variant management that allows a user to store and retrieve his or her screen configurations by selecting the columns and filter what they want to see in that list. Editing scenarios are also supported, so if you choose to enable that, you can add, edit, or delete objects within your application. All of this together represents a lot of code that you and your development teams don't need to write because we've provided it for you, and this saves you significant time in the development process. If the page types and the UI logic that we provide are not enough, you can extend the app according to your needs. If this is the case, Part of your app will contain the standard UI5 programming model with controls and behaviors in JavaScript that the page type provides with the corresponding UI and logic. The rest of your application is generated from metadata that you provide in the form of annotations. For example, you can create custom columns and tables or custom sections of an object page or bring in different elements to your list report. You can also write your own logic like custom actions. The fewer changes you make to the standard page type, the greater the savings you'll have in terms of reducing your development costs. Even with all the out-of-the-box content that SAP Fiori Elements provides, sometimes you might want many annotations to give your app the exact look and functionality that you want. Developers need tools so they can achieve the desired result even beyond what's standard in their preferred development environment, whether it's SAP Business Application Studio or Visual Studio Code. SAP Fiori tools make it easier to build Fiori Elements apps by simplifying many of the common development tasks. Now, Ashley will provide details on SAP Fiori tools.
SAP Fiori tools covers the complete end-to-end development cycle. The requirement gathering allows you to collect requirements and validate that they can be achieved using Fiori element applications. A critical component of the metadata-driven application is the modeling capabilities. This diagram shows the general progression of the lifecycle. This is how we approach the design of the tools. However, we also keep in mind that in reality, this is an iterative process and you may need to go back and forth in the process. So it's important for the tools to be flexible and work together. These are the main components within SAP Fiori tools. In the demo, I will show you how some of these work together to simplify app development. We'll focus on generating the project based on user needs, modeling capabilities, and providing context-sensitive help that can inject code into your project. The tools work together to complement each other to simplify the different phases of developing a Fiori element application. It is designed to be flexible and adaptive to the iterative process. At the same time, you can always see the changes you made in your project using an application view during design time. Now that you understand the vision and goal for SAP Fiori tools, let me show you a demo. Hello, this is Ashley Tong, Area Product Owner for SAP Fiori tools. The tools simplify the development of Fiori element application. It is a collection of extensions that can be installed locally on your laptop, or they can be deployed in a hosted environment such as SAP Business Application Studio. Today, I'm going to show you how to use the tools to create a This Report Object Page application, which is one of the most commonly used Fiori element floor plan. What I'm showing you on my screen is Microsoft Visual Studio Code with the tools installed locally on my laptop. When the tools are released into the Visual Studio Code Marketplace, you will be able to install or update the extension with a click of a button. I told you that we are going to create a new app today, so let us switch to the Project Explorer. The first thing I will do is to start the command palette, which is the one-stop shop for all functions in Visual Studio Code. Here I can see all the commands from SAP Fiori tools. The first step is to create a new project by selecting the template. All Fiori element applications require an OData service. I have the URL saved to the clipboard, so I'm going to paste the URL to the OData service. The app generator is smart to analyze the metadata of the service and already determine the main entity, so I can go to the next step. Here I just need to enter a name for my project and start the generation. It is pulling the metadata from the server, generating the project file, and doing an npm install to create the dev environment for the application. It is finished, so we can take a look at the project structure it created. Because I'm using a service that already has annotation predefined, I can already start the app. There are two options for that, and I'm going to choose to preview the app in a browser. The preview shows me the app using mock data, so I do not need to be connected to the server to test my app. I want to show you how to add a new column to the table. To do that, we can use the service modeler to see the list of entity types. I know the main entity is the product, so I will select that and then navigate to the annotations. The annotations can come from the metadata, server, or local annotation files. Let's take a look at the server-side annotations, where I find the annotation for the line item that defines the column that you were seeing on the table. In order to make changes, I need to override this. When I do that, it copies the line item annotation to the local annotation file. From here, I can open the local annotation file and use the XML LSP to help me add a column. You can now see me doing this. I'm using Control Space key to invoke the autocomplete. I'm adding the subcategory column. After saving the change, let me switch over to the preview again. The change has already been detected, and I can already see the new column being added to the table. I can drill down to the object page to see the details of the product. It is a bit empty right now, so we need to add the content using annotations. I want to create a section of faucet to show more information about this product. I will also add another section to show the product reviews in a table. Let's switch over to the preview again to see that we now have two tabs in the object page with more details on the product and a table of reviews. Looking at this app, I would also like to include a chart to show the sales data of the product. So let's go back to our project. The chart annotation is more complex, so I will launch guided development to help me do that. The guided development provides step-by-step approach to building code snippets. It starts with documentation of the feature followed by the steps. In this case, I can use the drop-down boxes to select the information I need for the chart. As I make changes, the code snippet below is being updated. I just need to click on the Apply button to have the code snippet inserted into the correct position in the annotation file. Now that I have the definition of the chart, I need to consume it so I can see it. So I will create another section in the object page. Let's see how it looks in the preview. We now have the third tab to show the net revenue per customer. There is one more thing I would like to do in this app. I want to be able to drill down to the details of the review. With the page map, I can visualize the application structure. We added a new column in the This Report page and created 3 sections for the details in the object page. I will now add another object page for the details of the review. I just need to pick the navigation property to the review entity. With that, the arrow on the page will now allow me to navigate to the new object page. I can continue to build a page, but you get the idea. SAP Fiori Element is a step forward to reduce the development cycle for Fiori apps. The SAP Fiori tools simplifies it even more. Whether you choose SAP Fiori Element or freestyle SAP UI5 application largely depends on your requirements. When you decide that you want to use SAP Fiori Element, you can use SAP Fiori tools that are specifically designed to support the full development cycle of SAP Fiori Element applications. In this unit, you learned how SAP Fiori Element makes developers more productive. You also learned that you can modify a standard page by using annotations. I also show you how to use SAP Fiori tools to make development process simpler. In the next unit, we'll show you how to create OData services for SAP Fiori applications.